Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. I'm going to do an energy reading, and I've been shuffling already, and I'll show the cards on the screen now. You'll see all of them in front of you. I'm still laying them out as I read to you. But as I shuffle, I'm seeing so many pentacles. I'm seeing acceleration, okay? But this is coming across as a silent acceleration. It's the kind where you are building momentum around something without fully having your awareness on this momentum building. It's almost like power building up. It's coming across like that. Like power building up, accumulating in sort of an invisible way. And almost like it's inevitable for this power to need to be released. Possibly unexpectedly, possibly at a moment where you call on it and it's just there. Something like that, okay? But it's building. On the clock, I saw 111566, which tells me it's like you finding balance internally, okay? Something is stabilizing internally, and then that 5 represents change, and then these 6s is like the release is what it's coming across as. And then straight after that, I saw 111020. And so that 20 is giving me judgment. And it's almost like at a predetermined sort of time, moment, predestined is what I meant. At that moment, that's predestined, is when this power is going to be released. There's this strange energy. It's hard to put into words, but how it's coming across to me is as though you've been observing this, okay? So it's not completely in your awareness, but you've been asking yourself, why do I feel so steady, so powerful? Where are the results? It's almost like, where is the evidence? Okay. And so it's not that you need that evidence. Don't get me wrong. You don't need that evidence, but you're wondering where you are in time almost. It's like you're so aware of yourself. I'm finding you confident. I'm finding you without concern, without worry. Okay, and so you're noticing a whole lot of differences about yourself, but not sure what moment you're preparing for, when it's going to be released. So you can feel this build up, but you're not quite sure when it's going to be unleashed or how. This is an interesting reading. I've now laid out all the cards in front of me too. And the message that I'm getting here is that you're aware there's a lot going on inside of you. You haven't yet come to understand it. They're saying that there's more going on than you're aware of. But at the same time, you're not meant to fully understand what is going on. There is this build-up. But what it's asking of you is actually that you get clear in terms of how you're spending your energy. This is not to say you are misdirecting your energy, but you're inclined to, as you sort of respond to this building excitement, and before you are clear on where to direct these copious amounts of energy. You see, I have this in the area of what you want the most and fear the most. I've got the 8 of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. And what this is showing me is like, why would you want the 8 of Swords? But actually, it's almost like you might actually at the moment be directing your energy towards problem solving, trying to find opportunity in places that you haven't initiated yourself, or areas where you could solve your own problems. Okay, so this is the energy of, because you haven't got clear on how to spend your energy, you may be missing direction for your energy. I hope I've worded that in a way that's understandable. And so you're revealing opportunities to spend your energy through your environment because you haven't got clear on where to direct your energy. Okay, so your environment may be, for now, dictating your direction. They aren't posing this as a problem, okay? They're posing this as sort of one of the things that's on your mind, okay, as you reckon with all this energy. And if you look at the advice, they're showing you here 10 of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. They want you to start thinking about what's going to make your 10 of Pentacles, what's going to complete your picture, what's going to make you happy. Okay, so this is really a goal setting time, because once you start with goal setting, okay, the things that you want to achieve, the things you want to see in your life, they're speaking from a material perspective. Okay, because I see that in your near future, I've got a pentacle, and I've got a pentacle in your area of what you want the most and fear the most. And I've got a top of mind, and I have it in your outcome. Okay, and so what they're saying is you're creating opportunities. You are manifesting opportunities to materialize things, for things to materialize, okay, to manifest things. However, you're not quite clear on that yet. And so what you're sitting with is this feeling of like, okay, so what needs to happen next? And you can feel that you could continue on the path that you were on before. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you're changing paths. I don't necessarily see a change in path here. I just see new energy, new capacity, more of everything. More energy, more capacity to build is what I'm seeing. But a lack of clarity around what you're going to build, what you're going to grow, how, okay? And you're also like getting used to this new feeling. I can definitely see that, okay? I've got the Empress, I've got the Emperor here, I've got the Queen of Pentacles, and in your surrounds, I've got the Death card, and in your outcome, I have the Fool, okay? And so you're in the process of not only integrating this new level, which I see here very clearly. It's not just integrating a new level. It's almost like, you know, if you were building a block of flats, let's call it, and you've got your foundation and you've got a whole lot of levels built there, but now you have the opportunity to add the penthouse, okay, and you're not sure what you want out of it. It feels kind of like that. And so in the meantime, before you've realized that you have the opportunity to actually build a penthouse, what you're doing is you've got the capacity to like fill this penthouse with stuff, but you're kind of at the moment putting it in all these various other levels when actually you have the opportunity to build a penthouse. So in your recent past, I've got the Ace of Wands and the Emperor. And if you look at this, this is speaking to this new energy, but also this newfound authority. Okay, so it's come in with all this authority, and you haven't assigned your authority. That's exactly it. You haven't assigned your authority yet. And if you look at the Queen of Cups with the Death card in your surrounding activities, you're in the process of receiving. So you have not stopped receiving. And so I'm finding you almost like totally in alignment where you are. Nothing is regressing, but there's all this new addition that needs to be assigned. Okay? But in the meantime, there's this idea that there are other people's matters that you seem to have got yourself involved in. You haven't committed your energy to these things because you still have that, I'm seeing stuff you already learned around over-giving, over-compromising, all of that. So you haven't regressed in that regard. You haven't. But you clearly have a lot of excess energy here. You have a lot of excess, and you haven't quite realized that, you know, it's time to embody it. It's time to integrate it. It's time to direct it and use it. Okay, so it's not necessarily wasted, because I see this entire setting as sort of being this way right now for a reason. And that reason is not that complicated. It's really a matter of, here's all this new energy, here's all this increased value, and take the time and figure out what you want to do with it. And, you know, where I see this 10 of Wands in your near future with this pentacle, it's almost like, okay, just compare this to the set of cards with the Eight of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. It's like these two difficult cards, but there's value that's extracted from them, both of them, okay? And so what I'm seeing here is you have the chance right now, okay? And I'm hearing this chance also in terms of chance, the French word for luck, okay? So you have this very lucky opportunity right now to grow yourself, but also to revisit your wish list and trade these things that you've been doing in other places that you don't really need in your life. You don't really want these things in your life. You don't actually want to spend your time this way. It's just that, you're a good person and you have all this excess energy, okay? And so they're saying you can trade these other things in for your own stuff, okay? You can replace these things for your own stuff. It's more a mindset shift. It isn't to say you're going to drop anything or drop anyone. It's not that, because there's so much. You've got so much capacity, so much energy. It's almost like the heaviness that you used to carry as you exerted yourself has sort of information is better organized in your system. And so you're carrying that heaviness differently. You're almost not carrying it in your heart and carrying it in your head. It's not occupying so much space. Okay? The capacity to hold matters is occupied in a very organized part of your system. So you're still able to do these things. You're just not carrying them in the same way. It's a strange shift. You're much more efficient now. You're much more efficient. You're able to be in places without allowing yourself to be completely absorbed in their energy, while sharing your energy in those places without losing your own. It's almost like you've got this open channel of all this energy, and whatever you do with it. But you seem to have grounded everything that you've developed before this moment. And so none of that is leaking. I see that. It's an interesting energy shift that we have here, because what I'm used to seeing is even that excess energy, its expenditure in places that it shouldn't be spent, would usually result in depletion. Please excuse any sounds you're hearing in the background. Someone's walking past my door and I don't want to stop recording. And so now, moving into your near future, what I'm actually seeing is the release of these things that you're trading in actually opening up even more. And so you've got this improved way of dealing with things, and you're basically going to just open up even more energy. And I guess this is actually about recognizing this new way of being. Okay, it's not just a new way of living, because they're saying if you want to live in a new way, you can do that now. You can pretty much change quite a number of things in your space around you. You're unlikely to take the wrong direction. And so they're saying, you kind of certified those things that you really want to keep, the things that you really want, the things that have brought you here. You're very clear on those things. So this is more around, they're saying embellishing. I wonder, I had to look this word up because I know what embellishing is, but sometimes it's used in the sense that, like you're an imposter, like you're adding stuff that's not really there or whatever it is. But here it says to embellish means to make something more attractive or interesting by adding decorative details, extra features, or elaborations. And so that's actually the space you're in. You're in the what would be nice to have space. How could I make this better? What can I do? Because essentially they're saying you can do whatever it is you want. And they're saying you're unlikely to do too much. Okay, but they're saying right now you're doing too little, especially given that you worked to get yourself to this point. And you see the Six of Pentacles in the outcome with the Fool and the Star. They are saying here, the Six of Pentacles, usually this guy, and there's like this change, and he's deciding which sort of where to share it or whatever. And there's this idea of generosity, and they're saying you are realizing that you are in the place that you've been working to get to for a long time. Okay. And they're showing me a dead person. Sorry to put that so directly. They're showing me a dead person where you have the ghost lingering around in that period before they recognize that they are dead. I had to pause there for a moment just to take that in. Okay? Because what's happening is you are physically in your old life, and you haven't recognized that your old life is over, and you are now in your new life and going through the motions of recognizing that. And they're saying that's the key thing to realize. I don't see dead spirits. I don't see spirits. I don't see ghosts. I don't know. I'm using all this really old language, like the language of someone who doesn't understand energy. I don't know why I just did all that. But we all have different ways that we experience spirit and the spirit world. But they're saying with this sort of metaphor that's been used here, they're showing you that there's nothing wrong with the stage. There is no issue with it. It's almost like a part of the process. It's a necessary part of the process after death. That's the stage where it's decided where you're going to head to next. And what's coming through with it as well is this idea that you can't go back. So there's no going back, and there's no risk that, your spirit is just going to sort of get back into your body and start again where you were. They're saying there's no going back. Okay. And this idea of embellishing, you are in a different league to where you were before. You're in a completely different league. And when they say like, the idea of buying yourself jewelry, this is not a necessity. This is not something you need. It's not something you thought you'd want. But, if you get it for yourself and wear it, it can actually change how you feel. And it can change your, look at this Queen of Pentacles, and you've got your Empress in your subconscious. It can change how you feel about yourself, and it can bridge that gap between where you kind of currently feel you are and where you currently feel you're going. And so we might not be talking about jewelry, literally here. Let's call it embellishments. This could be to your physical body. This could be to your work. This could be something that's not tangible, but it does feel like something material here. I'm sensing something material here that will sort of initiate you into this shift that's happened very much in your material world, but that needs to be actioned by you. Okay. It feels like a material world graduation of sorts. And the thing is, they're talking to me about how level-headed you've become. They're talking about how level-headed you've become, because one of the considerations before may have been for you to either move too slowly or move too quickly, and both in ways that resulted in a regression. And so they're kind of saying, there are some things that you have worked so hard and so long on, and you've experienced regression so many times, or the feeling of, or illusion of, whatever, of regression so many times, that you learned to have more self-restraint to be able to protect your energy and to be able to protect your growth. And so they're saying you're not going backwards anymore. And so you can chop and change a couple of things now, because that growth is now embodied. And so now you're playing with, let's call it, the excess and the fluff. But they're saying that that excess and that fluff, if you put things that you like, those things are going to become a part of your growth that becomes embodied. So you are in a stage of your growth where anything you add is just adding to and not taking away from. Does that make sense? Because I'm sensing this sort of questioning yourself at times as you add things to your life, wondering, asking yourself whether you're moving too quickly, and they're saying, no, you are not. You are moving very much accordingly, and you have earned this. Okay, and they're saying again, there's no risk of you doing too much too soon. They're saying that's not in your blood anymore. You've lost that thing. This feels important. When I say important, I mean it came through with a lot of volume, that set of words. They're saying that you've broken a generational curse. Okay, and I actually don't know who I'm speaking to right now. They're saying that, this idea of a generational curse is like a problem that you've experienced for a long time, and that you struggled to shake, and that you struggled to overcome lessons around. And it's generally a problem that is inherited, either through the way you were nurtured or your circumstances or whatever. Okay, so this is a behavior you've observed around you. Okay, I'm speaking to you. And you were very worried for so long that this is just in you because you struggled to overcome it. And they're saying you've overcome it. It's no longer in your blood. And they're showing me through anyone else that is nurtured by you, okay? And anything else that you produce going forward, this is not going to be there anymore. And so that fear can die. Thank you. It's dead. The fear can die, okay? That part of you is dead. And so allow the fear around it to also die, the ghost, because what it's doing to you now, this ghost, is it has you behaving as though that part of you still exists. And so you are not moving as swiftly as you could around these new areas of your life, because they're saying these things are not a problem anymore. And I believe that for each of you that this part of this reading has spoken to, you will understand this thing that you have now shaken, because of late, there are changes that you've been wanting to make, and you've actually made some of them, but it's taken you, you've gone with a little bit of guilt as you've made these changes, and they're saying you don't need that. And they're saying you're not going to overdo it. And so just relax, because that's the old version of you. And so we can leave that behind now. And I'm seeing them like sort of speaking to the spirit to say, that's you over there. That was your body. That's no longer your body. You are now here. Where are you going next? Come, let's guide you forward. Come with us. Let's go. And so you're being ushered out of your old life is what's happening. This was interesting. This reading, I'm closing it. It was an interesting reading because as I was laying out the cards, I was not sure what was going on. I'm always aware as I read that how I behave with the cards is the energy. And, it took me a long time to realize that that's not me doubting myself. That is the energy. And I mean, here on Pyramid Energy, I read through a hell of a lot of doubt in the past. I read through a lot of doubt where there was doubt more often than there was certainty. And, I'm finding it interesting to interact with the energy of doubt as more of a nuance rather than sort of a way of life and a thing that needs to be negotiated with constantly. They're also just telling me that your process of changing things, that was my tummy if you heard it, but your process of changing things has changed. So your process of upgrading has changed. You don't need to worry about what needs to change next, how to change it. You just need to carry on with whatever you're enjoying, doing, continue to avoid the things that are not speaking to you in the way that you like to be spoken to. They're saying like, continue to avoid those spaces. I don't see a struggle. I just see I'm noting that I'm not into that. And so I'm not going to be there and I'm not going to do that. It's more basic, and they're saying that what you need, the direction that you need, the how will be revealed to you. Almost like you think of something that you want to change, you carry on about your life, and then the opportunity to change it reveals itself, appears, and then you act on that basis. And so no energy spent figuring things out because you have enough figured out is what they're showing me. I thought I had ended the reading and then I kept getting more. But I'm going to leave this here. Thank you all so much for being here. Sending you all so much love.